Hey there, Charger people. This is Mrs. Boyd. Today we're talking about arcs and chords. First, let's look at congruent arcs. Minor arcs are congruent if and only if their corresponding chords are congruent, and the converse is also true. So that means if we have chord AD, again, a chord is just a line inside of a circle with endpoints on the line, on the circle. So if we have a chord AD right here, then in that is congruent to chord BC, then we know that arc AD, since it's a minor arc, is going to be equal to arc BC. Also, if we know that arc AD is congruent to arc BC, that should be congruent, not equal, then chord AD is congruent to chord BC. Now, let's look at these chords below and see if we can find the missing information. If chord AC is congruent to chord BD, all right, so these are the same. And AC is 3x plus 4, and BD is 5x. Find the length of AC. Well, these chords are congruent, so we can say that 3x plus 4 is equal to 5x. So we subtract that 3x, and 4 is equal to 2x. Divide by 2, that means x is 2. We plug that in. We need to find AC. So we plug that into our expression for AC, and we get 3 times 2 plus 4. That's 6 plus 4. That's 10. So chord AC is 10 units. Next, we have GE equals EF. Well, those should be chords, I assume. And arc GE is 80. That one's 80. Find the measure of arc GF. We want to know this arc here. Well, first we need to know what this entire arc is, GFE. So we do 360 minus 80, that's 320. Oh, that's so not right. I apologize. Goodness, that's 280. And if GF and EF are congruent, then that means that 280 is split between them equally. So we do 280 over 2 is 140, and that's the measure of arc GF. 140. We have HI congruent to KJ, so those two chords are congruent, and IJ equals KH is 90, so these two are 90. So now we want to find the measure of arc IJH. Okay, so if these two arcs are the same, these two arcs, there we go, are the same. We know that we have 90 plus 90 in those HK and IJ, that's 180. So that means HI and JK are going to have 360 minus 180 between them. That's 180. And they share it equally because they're the same. So these are each 90 as well. IJH, the measure of arc IJH, is going to be 90 plus 90 plus 90, and that's 270. Last one on this side, arc LO is congruent to arc MN, and LO is 95. Find X. All right, that means MN is also 95. X is a central angle, so that means it is also 95. All right, now that's all about congruent chords, right? That's what, arcs. Now we're going to look at perpendicular chords. If a radius or diameter is perpendicular to a chord, then that chord and its arc are both bisected. So HF and EG is perpendicular to each other. That's what this little right angle sign tells us here. So that means if HF is perpendicular to EG, then line EJ is congruent to line GJ because these are bisected. We also know that arc EF is congruent to arc GF. We also know that line EK is congruent to line GK. We can make a circle, oh Lord, a triangle here, and we know that those two lines are also congruent to each other. So we have the measure of arc AB is 70. So this is 70. Find the measure of arc BD. Well, since these two are the same, then this has to be a right angle. So that means measure of arc DA has to also be 70. If we want to know the arc BD, we do 70 plus 70, and the measure of arc BD is 140. And that's BD coming around this way. If KI is 6 and FG is 5, find GH. All right, so KI is 6, and these are equivalent, and this is a right angle. That means each of these are 3. That's bisected. We know that there's a line from K to G and I to G that are the same. I think I've got a typo here. That shouldn't say FG is 5. It should say KG is 5. Because what I've written makes no sense. So I know that KG is 5. We can use the Pythagorean Theorem to find the length of HG. So you've got 3 squared plus GH squared equals 5 squared. That's 9 plus GH squared is 25. Subtract 9. GH squared is 16. The square root of both of those and GH is 4. Last few, if LO is 12 and MP is 13, find MO. All right, MP is 13. That's a diameter. LP is also a diameter. It's also 13. We want to know MO. So to do that, let's first find OP. So we do 12 squared plus OP squared is 13 squared. That's 144 plus OP squared is 169. I subtract 144. I get OP squared is 25. Square root, and OP is 5. So if OP is 5 and MP is 13, we do 13 minus 5 and get 8, and that's MO. Last but not least, arc RS is 120, and RS, we want to know RSQ. All right, so if QS is a diameter, goes through the center, then QR and RS have to be 180. So QR has to be 60. We have QT that it looks like it's going to be congruent to QR because this is a perpendicular bisector. So that's also 60. So TS is 120. We want to know RSQ. So we do 120 plus 120 plus 60. And we get 300. And that's the measure of RSQ. All right, kids, I hope this makes all sorts of sense. If not, I hope you feel free and reach out. Let me know if you need anything. I'll talk to you soon.